Three, two, one. Oh shit, we're on. Welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka. Hello, friends, one and all. Good to hear from you guys again. Again, thanks for listening. And we have a treat for you today on the comedic level. What are we doing today?
We're gonna give you the top 5 best and top 5 worst movies, in our opinion, of
Will Ferrell.
So, without further ado, let's just take it from the top.
We'll take it from the top. And we're doing this, folks, because, we have recently reviewed his latest movie, Eurovision. And it sparked a conversation.
Fire
the saga of Firestar. Fire Saga.
Whatever.
So, although enjoying the movie, it sparked a conversation about one of his best, one of his worst, what kind of performances, blah, blah, blah. And so here we are. We're going to start from number 5, working our way to number 1. First with his better, if not best, performances. All right, and then I guess I'll kick it off. Number 5 for me. And again, must say there's a lot of honorable mentions here because he has a huge body of work. I am a fan. I do think he's entertaining. I do think he's a comedic genius. Like everybody else, some things work, some things don't work. And number 5 for me works hysterically. We watched it in the movie theater. We enjoyed ourselves. I think it's a funny movie. And that is Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. NASCAR. And, of course, teamed up with his best buddy, John C. Reilly. I was thoroughly entertained. I was laughing from beginning to end. There are some predictable parts, and there are some risque moments. But all in all, it was classic Will Ferrell hitting rock bottom and then slowly, tortuously climbing his way back up. Your top 5. Number 5.
Will Ferrell, for me, is it's like a drink that's real nasty, but the more you drink it, the more you like it. If that makes
Budweiser?
Sense. Hey, if that
he's a Budweiser?
That floats your boat. No, a lot of his movies, I'm saying, a lot of his movies are like that. And you watch them and you're like, wow, she's stupid. And then you watch it again, you're like, hey. And by the 3rd, 4th, 5th time, you're laughing your ass off because it's funny. It's funny. And I'm going to take a lot of flack for this one.
But you're flack boy, so it's okay.
Because if the movie was 35 minutes long, it'd be Oscar worthy. But it's not. So,
what?
Well, maybe not Oscar worthy. Point is, it would be a really good movie. But since it's not, it's one of my faves. It's ridiculous. Night at the Roxbury.
Out with it. Whoa. Whoa. Gotta say, listen, when you're ready to get on the whipping post, I'll be first in line.
All right.
Terrible movie. Terrible movie.
I mean, so good.
Oscar award winning?
No. You know what I mean. I don't mean literally Oscar award winning.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can vouch that Izzy does not do drugs, but I think he started tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't literally mean an Academy Award winning movie. What I mean,
any award.
What I mean to say is that the movie, if it was half an hour long, because the movie has its one joke throughout the movie.
And it would not be a movie, sir.
Touché, pussycat. Number 4.
Okay, let's move on and hopefully you can redeem yourself.
Number
4 for me is a movie I didn't exactly enjoy the first time around. I gotta admit, as I've watched it over and over again, I find myself laughing more and more. I think it is vintage Will. I think he is...
That's not how I feel about all of his movies.
He is dumber than dumb. And the dumber this movie is... And it's not just him, the movie itself. But this role, this movie, how he played it, how he played off again with his twin brother from another mother, John Reilly. I'm going with Step Brothers as the chemistry between the two paired together as 40-something-year-old stepbrothers in this irreverently blended family masterpiece train wreck. It's hysterical. I mean, all I can say is I'll leave it at that. Teabags anyone?
I guess Great Mountain think alike. For me, Step Brothers is right there as well. So
I mean, there's a lot of memorable scenes in this movie that are god awful in probably the conception room and the reading room, but then as the two play it out
the
on
movie
screen,
is
it's hysterical.
hilarious, yet it is
It is a nothing plot. It is a
but the Catalina wine mixer. That's what I'm gonna say.
teabags is all I'm saying. Okay,
Number three.
number 3. Again, here's one exception to the rule that I have used in judging this movie, compiling this list. He may not be the lead in this movie, but this movie is not the same without him.
You son of a bitch.
And yeah, si, senor. Yeah, I'm talking about old school. You know, number 3 for me is old school, and it would have been higher on my list, but he's not the exact main cog, but he is a cog that you cannot lack in this movie. All I can say is, as funny as this movie is, and to me it's one of the best comedies I've watched, you cannot remember this movie and hold it to any kind of regard
Streaking
without the streaking through the quad. And then his naked bare ass, sweaty naked bare ass backing into the car of his fiance and other friends. And what's that line? Kind of cold out there, Frank. And then he says, anybody want to go for KFC? I mean,
it's just freaking great. It's
Frank the Tank. This movie is not what it is without his role as Frank the Tank. And then he does that singing montage to Blue when he dies at the funeral. It's hysterical.
You my boy, Blue. My boy.
I almost peed in my pants every time that song comes on.
Well, that movie is epic.
Classic.
He's great in that role. I mean,
Again, despite not being the main
sequel, I think it's perfect as it is. I don't, and it's great.
All
it's
right.
great. So yeah,
I have a bad
obviously for me, number 3 the same. It's old school.
I have a bad feeling about number 2. I've already stolen thunder from God Almighty Izzy. So I'm gonna pause, bend the knee here. I'm gonna let Izzy take number 2. Let's see if we pair up.
Now, I hemmed and hawed about this number 2, and even though it's not,
you are a hammer and har.
Even though it's not my favorite movie, I realize the significance and the significance it has for the time period it's based in, and how many people love it. And I've seen the successive viewings, and I'm like, you know what?
Time period. Oh God.
It's silly, but
If you say Sherlock Holmes and Watson, oh my God.
Jeez, Louise, no. Elf. Elf is my number 2.
Elf is not my number 2, but I would say my number 2, okay, might be your number 1. But my number 2 is The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Anchorman. And I say this because
you are out of your mind.
I think it's a classic, all-inclusive, perfectly well-done movie with him as the lead, and it's memorable in the sense that he is the main lead. He plays this dim-witted anchor person to a T, plays off well. I know it's a star-studded cast.
Then how is Elf better than that? Elf
is my number 1 because you have a 6'3" elf who goes to New York City to find his biological father. And it's a complex character. It has depth, empathy. I think it's his best role in the sense that it was comedy blended with drama, blended with a few other elements. It's an instant Christmas holiday classic, which, I mean, 1 and 2 for me, you can make it interchangeable. It's 1A, 1B, but you had to pick one, and I pick Elf. Just like same as you, we juggled it up and down. Elf and Anchorman are interchangeable.
Anchorman, I mean, every time I see it, I find something new, something funnier, and there's so many quotes, so many lines, so many funny scenes. that are
Jazz flute, anyone?
that are ridiculous. That it's just
Every time I watch the evening news, I cringe at the end that somebody's going to say, fuck you, San Diego.
fuck you, San Diego. You're drinking the milk. Oh my god,
A class.
bro! It's so
What do you love? And then Baxter's punted off the bridge. I mean, it's
Hello. There's a bunch of honorable mentions that
Oh, absolutely.
as I think back, maybe I was a little hasty with my ninth Roxbury selection because
Rather,
I kind of miscounted, and it really should have been Ricky Bobby.
I think we should send you for an MRI.
It really should have been Ricky Bobby at 5, but what's done is
Ricky
done.
Bobby. Ricky Bobby.
I guess you can call Ricky Bobby 5A and Roxbury 5B. Then you have
Well,
Tough Guys, which was
it was okay. I would make my 5B Blades of Glory. It's a personal favorite of
you
mine.
know what?
I laugh hysterically in that movie.
I'm not a fan.
I
So,
laugh hysterically in that movie.
not a
The first male twin pairs competition ice. I'm going to take flat for this, but The Campaign. I actually like that movie.
The Campaign was good, but I mean, but
It got a little dark.
It wasn't your traditional Will Ferrell.
No, same with Stranger Than Fiction. He took a lot of flack in the sense that people are expecting.
Everything Must Go was another one. That was a good movie.
Yes, but Stranger Than Fiction actually was a great performance. It's a dramatic role, complex existential crisis, but doesn't crack my top 5. But I cannot not mention it. It's a worthy performance.
Okay.
All right, now
words.
the train wreck dumpster fire that everybody's waiting for is his top 5 failures or disappointments, if you will. And let's start with number 5. Would you like to go first? Or
yes, Blades of Glory.
Oh, wow. Please elaborate why you trashed the movie I love so much.
I thought it just wasn't funny to me. Maybe because I'm not a fan of Napoleon Dynamite, and maybe that kind of, threw it off. I didn't get. I got the jokes. Mensa. Meh.
You're a hard man to make laugh, Izzy. You're a hard man. I laugh hysterically. You didn't laugh when they set each other on fire, when they have to hold each other in odd positions, when they have to perform the Iron Lotus, when they're training.
Truth be told, maybe it's movie. I may have to watch it again, and maybe it will rekindle something in my loins or something. I don't know. So
well, okay. Well, you know what? I don't mean this. My list. Full transparency, people. We made our lists separate. We didn't discuss it. We didn't have any board meetings. We did not talk about it at all. So you don't know what I wrote. I don't know what he wrote. My number 5 is A Night at the Roxbury.
Touche.
Because, like similar critiques that you have mentioned, a full-length feature film of this inept, poor, thought-out garbage is torture, completely working against its intended entertainment value. I mean, it should be burned as a feature-length film. I mean, it was so bad. I've never watched the movie in its totality for those reasons and many more. Okay, number 4.
Semi-Pro.
Wow, I actually enjoyed that movie. I can't say it's the greatest movie.
Yeah, but I thought for the 2 or 3 parts that were good, I thought he tried real hard, and a lot of the jokes fell flat. And I think it was more of a vehicle for Woody than him. And
really? For Woody Harrelson?
Yeah. And I think that it was just it
didn't work.
It didn't work. Some really worked. The bear scene was phenomenal, but then a lot of things didn't work.
I mean, okay. I hear you on that. It's on the border for me. Wasn't the greatest movie, wasn't the worst movie.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still I watch it. It's not like we're not saying these movies that that if you watch them, you have to drink drink freaking Clorox.
Lighter fluid. No, I'm saying that. Yeah, I'm saying you should. Or what's wrong with you?
Right.
Like my number 4 movie, Bewitched.
Oofa.
Oh, that failed. That failed Major League.
Well, I mean,
I'm always skeptical of remakes, but
I'm just gonna say that's my number 3. So
I mean,
do your worst.
it didn't. Yeah, 3, 4, whatever. It's in this 5 batch.
You know what? That's one of those movies that they expected it to be a successful reboot, maybe possibly a franchise, and I just think that it was good casting on one end, theoretically, and I don't think he fit that role at all, and I think that
Uh,
his comedy doesn't work for that.
I think it goes down with other inventions, much like the square wheel.
I think if you would have had someone, I'm not saying it would have been a better movie. You had someone like a Jason Bateman would have maybe pulled off that role better than Will.
All right, so
I've given you
my 4. What's your 3?
I told you, my three.
Oh, Bewitched is your 3. All right, I'll get to my 3. My 3 is Land of the Lost. Again, a reboot.
I completely forget. That wasn't even in my list. I completely forgot about that. But yeah,
that was horrible.
That's atrocious.
It's beyond atrocious. It should almost be tied for number 1 on this list. But number 1's reserved for a holy spot. Wait till we get to that. Again, should not have been made. Poor casting, poor directing, poor storyline. Poor person who thought to pass this with the stamp of approval to be made and spend money and people's time and Will's time on a movie that will be forever on his bad list. Land of the Lost. Okay, you're number 2 then, sir.
My number 2. All right. Is Get Hard.
Yes. Okay. I mean,
it was. I see what they were going for, but again, I think it was more of he was miscast, and it was more of a vehicle for Kevin Hart than him. And the jokes were one note, and
here's my problem with, and we have sometimes we do have very scary, similar thought patterns, which we'll leave that for another episode of Bizarre and Paranormal. It is my number 2 as well. And what adds to the complete train wreck that I think this is, more of a disappointment than a train wreck. It actually wasn't terrible. But I'm sorry to say, it's outdated material. It doesn't work in today's, even though it's not today, it doesn't work in this modern era. It plays on a lot of stereotypes.
Well, it's the stereotypes that make it funny. And I thought it would be funnier if you're gonna go with that kind of over the top stereotype, over the top, jokes, then get someone who it would really be funny that was a complete opposite of Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I just
get like a super straight laced, super freaking, dramatic actor, and then it could have been funny.
I find myself watching that movie doing a lot of this, or just waiting for the punchline, where I just kind of smile. I have a little but in comparison to his other works,
it's cringy.
This was a superb fail, epic. All right, so we'll get to the number 1, which I have a suspicious feeling that we are also of the same mind.
I mean,
we're in the beta wave here.
It's entirely possible. I mean, I think it's a 2-movie deal. I mean, because there was a part 1 and a sequel. So, for me.
Okay. Now that you've got me intrigued, like
I think they both suck. But then again, I would like to see what the hell is your number 1.
My number 1 is Holmes and Watson, the ballad of the ballad of the outdated dumpster fire.
The problem with Holmes and Watson, why it wasn't on my list, is because I never saw it. so I can't really.
I have to admit I didn't see the whole movie in its entirety, but I saw enough of it to not want to watch the rest of it. It's kind of like watching the best athlete in his later years where they can't swing the ball and connect. They can't hit a shot to save their life. They can't catch the ball. They can't hit the birdie. You don't want you don't want to tarnish the legend. And so I couldn't watch it to its entirety. It completely earns the criticism full-heartedly of misogynistic jokes that don't work in today's world, nor should it.
That's
And
what
even
that,
if it's skewed to be a character that's flawed, they both are flawed. Him and John C. Reilly. And as a period piece, you almost ask the question, what's the point? Why are we even doing this? And why is it so heavy-handed as far as the driving train of this movie when you know it doesn't work? You know, if the comedic aspect is centered around the actual solving of a mystery,
right?
I mean, it's beyond cringeworthy. It's very regrettable. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it was just to reiterate, the highest score it got on the Metascore is a 42. I mean, it's insane. There is no intermittent joy to be found in their autumnal bromance. Enough said.
So you're saying they didn't even fail high?
No. It's insane. Now look, my number one. We can go to the same thing about how old school he wasn't the main character. But I think that the movie, for me, another one joke movie, had a couple chuckle scenes, but the movie was so. I'm trying not to say this word, but it's so dumb. Zoolander 1 and 2.
Do you think the entire Zoolander is horrible?
I think there were couple scenes that were funny, but I think the whole concept is no good.
This is a classic movie where you're laughing at them and you're not laughing with them. You're laughing at how dumb they're taking their respective roles. Now, they've apparently been given carte blanche to be total screwballs with their roles, and it was okay because it was edited and released as such. I agree it has taken this would be the dishonorable list, along with the producers, which I thought was a complete epic fail. More disappointing.
Daddy's Home, I think they were terrible also.
Daddy's Home was terrible too. I mean, again, with comedy, I know there's a lot of swings and misses.
Casa de mi Padre was pretty bad.
I have not seen that one. Oh, really? It's that bad?
It's funny that he made a Spanish-speaking movie. That's why it's not on my list, because that in itself is hilarious. The fact he actually did that. So
I'm not going to put this on the dishonorable list. I'm going to put it on the bubble list, and that's the latest movie we reviewed, Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga, where there's bits and pieces that are enjoyable. There's a lot of dead air. And boy, do I mean that, pun intended. There's a lot of, as you have mentioned before, this movie works better like Night at Roxbury if it was made into a 30-minute short.
Oh, well, yeah.
But a full feature film.
2 hours and like 4 minutes or something.
It's very one-dimensional.
You make it a slim, trim, sleek 85 minutes, the movie will rock.
Exactly. And you're right. It's not Will's best performance. Actually, as I thought about it, I let the
She carries the movie. She carries.
Yeah, Rachel carries the movie leaps and bounds, and that's not saying much because it doesn't go leaps and bounds.
She doesn't have much to do, but even then she carries it. It's
All right, well, with that said, guys, that's our compilation of Will Ferrell's top 5, worst 5, dishonorable and honorable mentions.
Let me ask you real quick. In comparison to the comedians out now or the funny men that are now, where would you place Will?
Oh, that's a good question. And that's actually a very enticing
top 10.
That's an enticing debate as far as comedic movie draws. Like,
yeah, I mean, Adam Sandler.
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know if Adam Sandler's that much better than him, to be honest. But I mean, you have Robin Williams, right? You have Eddie Murphy.
Well, I'm talking about nowadays. We know that could be a separate episode.
So today, nowadays, absolutely, he's top 10. I mean, his box office draws and
yeah,
I think he's in top 10.
Yeah, the bottom half of the top 10.
Even if he's in the bottom half, he's still in the top
right 10. Now. Seth Rogen or Will?
No, I go Will.
Okay, interesting.
I go Will over. No, Kevin Hart. I mean, hell, Dave Chappelle makes a movie tomorrow. I'm going to watch him before anybody.
Please.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's top 3, top 5 off the top of my head right now. I mean, as far as, I mean, Seth, yeah, I mean, Jonah Hill.
I'd rather watch a Jonah Hill movie.
Yeah, I'd rather watch a Jonah Hill movie, to be honest. But not by a big margin. No, so they're in the same conversation. He just, what? It's unfortunate that he's made more movies than them. Because there's more to criticize, there's more to attack. Well, he's probably doubled up everybody else.
To be honest, a lot of his cameos are better than some of his movies. His cameo in Jane Silent Bob was hilarious.
Making a full length feature film is a tough job, especially doing a comedy.
Wedding Crashers, Chaz, freaking classic. We can go on and on. I mean, in The Goods, which is a terrible movie. But he has a pivotal role. He's funny, But anyway, that was our retrospective top 5 best and worst movies by Will Ferrell. And
if anything, we've given you maybe 15 movies to digest from his lengthy body of work so far. Yeah, listen, not all swings and misses hit home runs, but he is entertaining. He is memorable. It's worthy enough to speak. Not saying don't watch Eurovision, but it's out now, and so, it spurs the conversation.
Eurovision, again, if the movie was shorter, we'd give it a much better rating. But for what it is, it's enjoyable.
He has still provided us with endless characters and moments and quotable lines. So we can't dismiss him. He is still a comedic force out there. Hats off to Will. Keep doing what you're doing like everybody else. And maybe you hit another mega hit sooner than later. But that's our list. Thanks for listening. And again, like, subscribe, listen to us on our podcast.
Who else you would like for us to review and retrospect, We can make this a series and take all the comedians and actors and actresses and do a little,
There are a few that come to mind right now that we're having this conversation.
I mean, just doing this, you got the old.
Yeah, it's got the wheels turning.
Old grandmatter, working. So
shake the cobwebs off. All right, I'm Rocca.
I'm Izzy.
We are the Dead Air Dudes. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. And again, save the whales and enjoy the movie.
Save the whales.